Good morning everyone. Today we start with the new topic of the programming for problem solving subject, that is break and continue statement. So what is break statement? The break statement ends the loop immediately when it is encountered. For example, when we write any program and we use the break statement in the middle or any position of the program, then when the program will be executed and the break statement will encounter, then it immediately ends the loop. When a break statement is encountered inside a loop, the loop is immediately terminated and the program control resumes at the next statement following the loop. Means whatever be the next statement after the loop, that will be executed after encountered the break statement and the loop will be end. It can be used to terminate a case in the switch statement. We can also use the break statement with the switch statement. And the syntax of break statement is break. The syntax of break statement is break, and we put semicolon after the end of the break statement. This is how the break statements will work. When we use with it the while loop, then we write while text expression, then code, whatever we write the code, and we use the if condition to break, and we write break here. Here we use the break statement, and when we execute this program, then the control will go outside the loop after encountering the break statement. When we use it with the do while loop, then when the break statement will encounter, it automatically going outside the loop. And same as with the for loop, it will terminate the loop when the break statement will encountered. So this is the flow chart how the break statement will work. When the break statement, then after that the code, what we write, the conditional code, and if the condition will true, then the condition will execute, and if the break is encountered, then the condition will execute, and if it false, it will end the statement. So this is a program to enter a negative number or a zero number. So int n, program enter a number, scanf %dn. So here the user write a number. For example, we write enter a number 10. So n is equal to 10. While n is not equal to 0, if n is less than 0, then it will break, and if n is not less than 0, then the program not break. So this is the output when the user enter a number 9, then again it will enter 8, 89, then when it enter -9, then it will break and the loop will going outside the loop. Then next one is the continue statement. It is also similar as the break statement, but with the continue statement, instead of terminating from the loop, it forced to execute the next iteration of the loop. Means when the continue statement is encountered in any program, then it will force to execute the next iteration of the loop. The syntax of break and continue is almost similar. Instead of break, we write continue and then semicolon. How continue statement will work? It is when we use break, if we use break instead of continue, then the control will going outside the loop and the loop will terminate. But when we use continue statement, then it will go starting of the loop. So this is the difference between the break and the continue statement. When we use with the do while loop, then same, when the continue statement will execute, it will go outside and check the condition. That is it continue and check the condition, and when encountered here, then it will also check the condition for what is the condition given. This is the flow chart of the continue statement. Conditional code, then condition. If the condition is true, then again it check the conditional code, and when the continue statement, then it will repeat it again and again. If the condition is false, then the program will be terminated. This is a program to print the odd number from 1 to 20. So here int I, n is equal to 2. For loop is used in this program, I is the initialization value, that is equal to 1, and the condition is specified I is less than or equal to 20. That means ki the program will be, the loop will be starting from 1 to I value will be less than or equal to 20, that is 20. When the value become 21, the loop will, condition will be false. And the I plus plus. If I equal to n, then the n value will be increased by 2 times, because n is equal to n plus 2, and then continuous statement is encountered and print a %di. Here we print the value of I, that is the odd number. So this is the output. First we write 1, then 3, then 5. When we write 1, 1 is less than or equal to 20, 1 is equal to 2. If 1 is equal to 2, no, then n is equal to n plus 2, continue. Because this condition is false, it will print the I, that is 1. When I value is increased by 2, 2 is equal to 2, yes, then the value will be increased and the result will be print. So what is the difference between the break and continue statement? The break statement is used to exit from the loop construct. Means when the break statement is encountered in any program, then the loop will be immediately terminate. And the continue statement is not used to execute the loop construct. Second is, the break statement is usually used with the switch statement, and it can also use it within the while, do while or for loop. Means all 3 loops we will use the break statement. But the continue statement is not used with the switch statement. This is the main difference, that we can use the break statement with the switch statement, but we cannot use it with the continue statement with the switch statement. When a break statement is encountered, then the control is exited from the loop construct immediately. When the continue statement is encountered, then the control automatically passes from the beginning of the loop statement. Means, as I clear in the definition, that when the break statement is encountered in any program or in any loop, then the loop will be immediately terminated and we will be moved outside from the loop. And when the continue statement is encountered in the loop, then the loop control will automatically pass from the beginning of the loop to check the condition. Then the syntax of break and continue statement I already discussed, that the break statement break dot semicolon and syntax continue. Function is a group of statements that together perform a specific task. When a certain programming code performs a specific task, then this programming code is known as the function. Every C program has at least one function which is known as the main function, which we write in the beginning of the program. It is also a function. In C, we divide a large program into a basic building blocks known as function. When we divide a large program into the small building blocks, then this is known as the function. A function can be called multiple times in C program. Function is reusable. We can call multiple times a function in a program. We can use it multiple times. And function is basically dedicated to perform a specific task. For example, to perform sum, we can use the function. To perform multiplication, we can use the function. Then, basically the definition of the function is basically a set of statements that take inputs, do some specific computation on it, and it produces the output. So, the syntax of function is return, data type, then function name, then the argument that we pass, and the code of the statements. So here the data types, means the type of output that is returned by the function. Means what will be the type of the output: integer output, character output, float output. This is known as the return data type. Then the function name is maybe the user defined name. For example, if we write sum, then sum will be the function name. Then the argument, that is input provided to the function. So a function is a group of statements that together perform. So why function is used? First, the reason behind to use the function in C programming is reusability. We can reuse the function in our program. Once the function is defined, it can be used over and over again. For example, if we write a function of sum, so suppose in a program, if we write sum function, then we can use that function many times whenever we require to sum of the numbers. Then second reason behind the using the function is abstraction. If you are just using the function in your program, then you don't need to worry about how it works inside. Means the functionality of a function is hidden. We don't know how it will work. For example, scanf function. It is a library defined function and we don't know how it will work internally. So this is known as the abstraction property of a function. Then third reason is modularity. Function makes code modular. Means it will divide the code and it will make it simple. Consider a big file having many lines of code, then it is really difficult to read, and function become it simple to read to divide the code into the building blocks, and these building blocks are known as the function. Or we can also say that when we divide a large problem into a small numbers of the sub problems or in the module, then each module is known as the function. So there are two types of function in C language. First one is predefined function known as the library function, and second one is the user defined function. Predefined function and the user defined function, these are the two types of function that are used. Predefined function are also known as the built-in function. They are written in the header files. Header files, that is studio.h, conio.h, ctype.h, math.h, studylib.h and string.h. So these are the header files and the function is written in these header files. These functions are known as the predefined function, which are already defined in the C library, and we just use these functions. To use them, appropriate header files should be included. When we want to use these functions that those are predefined in the C library, then we must include the header files before using these functions. So these are the header files. Studio.h header files contain the function printf, scanf, get character, put character, gets, put, fopen, fclose, that is file open and file close function. Conio.h include CLR, SCR, that is clear screen function, and getCS function. ctype.h, math.h also include the power function, square root function, cos function, log function, and string.h, string length, string copy, and strings upper, string compare. All these are function are included in string.h header file. When we want to use any one of these function, then we must include the header file. Suppose if we want to use the string.copy function, then we must include hash include string.h header file, and after that we can use the string length or copy function. If we don't include this header file, then it will give an error when we run and compile and or run any program. Then second type of function is user defined function. As the name suggests, these functions are defined by the user, or we can say that these functions are created by the user as per the user requirement. Those functions that are created by user as per their need or their requirement are known as the user defined function. These functions are created as per their need and requirement. Depending upon the complexity and requirement of the program, user can create many user defined functions. Means there is no restriction to create the function. We can create multiple functions. There is no restriction that we can only create one function or two function. We can create 4, 5, 10, any number of function, depend upon the complexity of our program as we required. It reduces the complexity of program and optimize the code. It also reduces the complexity of the program, and it makes the program simple. Then how the function will work. So in C programming, this is given how the function will work. Here we include the header file, and when we use the function, we just put the name of the function. Okay? Then after that we use the main, and function name. This is how the function will work. I will explain it in detail. These are the elements of the user defined function, and by studying these elements we know that how the function will use in C programming and how it will work really. Then first element is function prototype, and second is function call, third is function argument and parameter, and fourth is function definition. Function prototype. Function prototype simply means the function declaration. Similarly, function declaration is also known as the function prototype, means declaring the properties of a function to the compiler. For example, if we use int, then fun int char. Here int is the return data type of the function, fun is the name of the function, and int and char are the output that input that we provide in that function. So name of the function is fun, return type is integer, and number of parameter, input parameters are 2, first one is int and second parameter is character, okay, parameter 1 and parameter 2. Then a function prototype gives information to the compiler that the function may later be used in the program. It does not contain function body, so it will end with the semicolon. We put the semicolon at the end of the function. Function prototype basically used to announce that we can use a function in our program. It gives only the information that the function will be used further in our program by using the function prototype. So there is an important point, that is, it is not necessary to put the name of parameter in function prototype. It is optional. If we do not put the function parameter in function prototype, then it will correct. Then it is also correct. So here it is a program, then at the top of the program we write the int add int. So it means there are two parameters that we passed in that function. So this is known as function prototype, and there is no need to mention that parameter, name of the parameter. And function prototype is mandatory to define when we use any function in a program. Then second element is function call. Function call, control of the program is transferred to the user defined function by calling it. When we call a function, that the control will be transferred to that function. A function can be called by specifying name and list of argument enclosed in parentheses and separated by comma. If there is no argument, empty parentheses are placed after function name. For example, this is the name of the function and these are the arguments that we used in that function. If there is no argument, then the list will be empty. So here, this is how we call a function. We just write the function name and the name of the parameters. So the control will go to the function. Second is function argument and parameter. There is a little bit confusion between the argument and parameter. That is, what is argument and what are parameters. So argument are known as the actual parameters and argument are written within parentheses at the time of function call. When we call a function, then whatever be written inside the parentheses, it is known as the actual parameters, or we can say that the argument. And parameters are known as the formal parameters. These are written within parentheses at the time of function definition. So the basic difference between the argument and the parameter. Parameter is a variable in the declaration and the definition of the function, and argument is the actual value of the parameter that gets passed to the function. Parameter is also called as formal parameter and argument is also called as actual parameter. So what is the difference between argument and parameter? Here, with whatever we use in the function definition, this is known as the parameters, and when we call a function, then the input will be used, it is known as the argument or actual parameters. So function definition. Function definition means the main function where the function purpose will be defined. Why we use that function, definition will be defined. Function definition contains the block of code to perform a specific task. It is the independent program module. The first line of the function is called function declarator and the rest line inside the braces is called function body. So here we declare a function in return type, function name and the parameters, and in that body we define the function code, that what is the purpose to use the function. For example, if we write sum is the name of function, we write int sum a and b, then inside that we write c is equal to int c and c is equal to a plus b. So here the work of function is to add the two numbers. So this is known as the function definition. So this is the program. Here a and b, this function is used for adding the two numbers. So advantage of function, it is used in modular programming. Length of source program can be reduced, easy to locate and isolate faulty function. Function can be used by other programs. Then the return statement is also used with the function. The return statement terminates the execution of a function and returns a value to the calling function. The program control is transferred to the calling function after the return statement. So the syntax is return variable name, or we can also return the constant value or expression. We can also return a plus b. So this is an expression. And if we return 1 or 0, so this is a constant value. So this is the working of return statement. When we return result, then the program control will go to this, and in sum it will allocate the result of that function. So this is all about the function. Thank you.